Alright people, so right now I'm done sewing the flounces and I've also given it a good press. So it's time for us to start the sewing into our princess that Bustier. So the way it is now, I'm going to put the two together. I have two flounces right here, as you can see. I'm going to put them together. So if you are putting them together, ensure you put them together appropriately, facing the front. The part with top stitch is the back, so I want it to face my front. Okay, I want it to face the front like this, and the next one I also want it to face the front like this. So I'm going to merge them together now, and I'll be sewing from this end into the curve. Okay, I'll just sew very close so they will become one. So I'll go to my machine now. I'm going to sew it in to become one, then I'll come back to show you how to sew it to the bustier. So now I'm done putting them together as one piece. Okay, so I will encourage you to serge. Okay, go to your weaving machine and weave it so it looks nice and good. All right, so it's time for us to start sewing flounce. Okay, I just weaved it around right now, so it's high time for us to sew it into the bustier. So I want to sew this flounce. Okay, I'm going to fix my sleeve at 0.5. So I want to measure my flounce. I'm measuring my flounce where I'm going to fix it at 1.5. So I'll keep taking 1.5. I'll keep taking 1.5. So the chalk lines are the mark where I'm going to sew my flounce. So once I get to the princess that, I'll mark 2 inches. I'll keep marking 2 inches. Then I'll just take it straight from there. Okay, just by the side. The flounce is going to sit by the side of the princess that. So I'm going to follow this exact line right now on my machine. I'm going to sew in my flounce. So since you have already serged your flounce, so it makes your work easy for you. So I'm going to turn it this other way to sew. Okay, so I'll sew like that, just very close at the tip, and follow the line. You can see the flounce is already built into the dress. Okay, so you might also decide to start the sewing of your flounce from the neckline like this and go into this part as you desire. So but for the purpose of this tutorial, I just want to start, okay, from the beginning. So any excess I have, I'm going to sew it into the waistline. I'll invert it and sew it into the waistline. So I will do that. Right, so it's time for us to sew in the flounce. Okay, so I'm sewing the flounce only on the body's fabric. So I'll just start sewing my flounce from here. So I'm just sewing the way I marked. So if you have serged, it makes it easy for you. Okay, so I just want to see if I can, because that part is actually very straight. So I'll just fold in a little because I have a little excess. Serge. Okay, make sure you weave the edges very neatly so you don't have issues with turning or whatever. So I'm just trying to spread out my bustier and sew exactly where I marked. So I'm sewing following my chalk lines. You can see that. So I'm sewing, following my chalk lines. So I'll keep sewing now. I'll keep sewing now. So here I just have a little excess. So I'll just take it this way. Before the 0.5, I'll back stitch, and then I'll come out again. I'll flip it in the direction of the seam allowance. You can see what I did. The excess I have, I'm flipping it in the direction of the seam allowance, and I'm going to turn it around to sew. So it rests on the seam allowance. I'll sew it together with the down piece when I'm sewing. So I'm sewing in into the bodice right now, and I'll back stitch, and I'm done. So this is how to go about this particular flounce sewn on the bodies. Okay, so we'll proceed with the tutorial right now. All right, people, so now I'm done sewing the flounce, and I placed it on the dress form for you to see what it looks like. Okay, so you can see the flounce is actually looking beautiful. With our crinoline, everything is standing appropriately. So if you wish to reduce the size of your flounce, remember we made use of 4.5 inches. So you can also do 3 inches if you actually need it small, okay, the way it is on the thumbnail. But I think 4 inches, which we made use of, is okay as I'm seeing it right here. All right, so we'll proceed to the merging of the back bodies right now, and the sewing of the neckline and the sleeves.